I'm a fat pig.
What did you just call me?
I'm starving.
I am so full.
I'm gonna vomit.
I can't fit.
I'm nauseous.
What are you going to order?
Can I get a side of mayo?
I'm sweating.
Do you hear my breathing?
I cannot stop eating chips.
This is not an extra large.
Do I look fat?
Welcome to Fat Pig. I'm Frank Liotti. And I have a wonderful guest co-host with me today. Jessica's working on HBO's Crashing. My guest host today is Valerie Scott. Hi, Valerie.
Hey, Frank.
Welcome to Fat Pig.
Oh, thank you so much.
Why don't you tell all our listeners in Cambodia, tell our listeners about yourself. What's your story?
My story.
What are you selling? What's your story? Yeah.
Well, I don't really sell anything. I used to really study acting and be an actor. And
can I talk about that a second?
Yeah.
So Valerie and I first bonded. Valerie works at Comedy. She's one of the people who runs Comedy Cellar on McDougal Street, which is the greatest comedy club in America. Here's the thing, though. Valerie and I hit it off immediately because of the acting background thing. Now, I came from SUNY Purchase, where the old people I had at Purchase we were afraid of. They were all from the Actors Studio in the 50s and 60s, and they would tell us stories like, Marilyn was like a child. She would shake, and we all pretended not to notice. Like all these stories about Geraldine Page and Kim Stanley. I remember that same teacher, Joan Potter, said, luckily I was able to understudy for a mentally unstable young lady. And she meant Kim Stanley with three sisters. Valerie comes from that world, too. Like, you know, that whole Actors Studio world.
Studied at the Actors Studio.
With those people. She studied at the Actors Studio, and we talk about, like, these movies that nobody knows, like Interiors, the Woody Allen film that has not one joke in it. Like, we love the same kinds of performances. And
I Never Sang for My Father.
Oh, my God.
That is
I love that
I think
play.
that's, like, one of my all-time. I think it's the saddest movie.
I Never Sang for My Father.
My God.
Well, I only know the monologue from it that I did when I was like in ninth grade, and the man is supposed to be like 45.
He died with nothing but an orange.
He died
not even an
alone
orange in
without
his
an
hand.
orange in his hand. It's like a 45-year-old talking about his father's death. I was like 11. He died alone without an orange in his hand. It was like for like Sawmill Junior High School's production of Sawmill
God.
Swings.
They did.
No,
how did you find that at 11?
Like in Monologues for Men, book 1. It had like, Does a Tiger Wear a Necktie?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I love that play too.
It's so good. Probably had When You Coming Back, Red Rider. All those gritty late
That's
60s, 70s plays. They don't make them anymore.
They don't do any of that stuff like Leonard Melfi's.
No, Bird something.
A Bird Bath.
Bath.
That's what I did for my first audition. It wasn't even my audition for the Actors Studio. Was Bird Bath. I did it with a friend of mine, my friend Travis Shakespeare, and it was his audition. Mm-hmm. And we had worked on it in acting class, and they loved it. And I just remember our acting teacher was like, "Oh my God, they're going to love it there."
This is what they used to call theater fags. Wait a minute. See, like now, okay, so the plays that we were just talking about, Does a Tiger Wear a Necktie was like Pacino's Broadway debut.
Right.
Where he's like the slick, animal-like Bickham, who, you know, it's a drug rehab, a heroin rehab. Or what was the other, When You Coming Back, Red Rider? It was like a stick-up, a hold-up in a diner in the South. Like now things are like Yasmin Reza, a multicultural collaboration about a canvas that's white. Like now everything is so cerebral and...
Nothing's gritty. Nothing is gritty.
It's politically
and
correct, and you have like 3 white actors, 1 African-American male, an Asian woman, and a transgendered newt. Like you have such... It's about something so different now in New York theater. It's about being PC. It's about... I don't know.
And it's... You know, I was just talking to someone about this. I saw 2 plays recently. I saw 1984, and I saw A Doll's House Part 2.
Oh, yeah, that's the one with the one from Roseanne.
Right. She wasn't in it when I saw it.
She was absent?
She left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, actors don't stay in their roles for like a year.
What was the eye roll? For which one?
Both.
Okay.
And the thing that gets me is when you watch, these were both straight plays, heavy dramatic plays. And the thing that bothers me when I go to the theater now is that people feel this need to laugh. Like they don't feel comfortable with any kind of seriousness, any kind of heaviness in the dialogue or if a scene is emotional, they have to find a way to laugh. Like nobody can be comfortable with like being like sad and depressed and like, oh my God, this is serious. This is not.
Right.
Ibsen, I'm sure you're familiar with
Doll's
House. Yeah, there are some funny moments in the play, but for the most part, it's
like the director would have to find those funny moments and let them happen.
Yeah.
It's not right.
I found myself getting really upset with the audience, going, "What is so funny?" She just walked in after not seeing her family for almost 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Because we live in an age of Shrek the Musical.
Yeah.
We really do. Or like the last revival of Ibsen I saw was Hedda Gabler with Mary Louise Parker. Mm-hmm. And it opened with her like nude lying on a bed in like these weird trippy like lights. And it was so much more about the director than it was Ibsen's play. Does that make sense? Yeah. It was so a visual experience, and they never really got to the heart of anything real. Like the one person, let me just get, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The one person that's working the most from my graduate school experience is a director whose family is very connected. And, you know, the nepotism thing, the money thing, and it's very much so, and there's somebody else that I went to school with who's also a director, very talented and is really like clawing her way up and does really good work. But most of it's not in New York City. It's just, it seems to be about something else today, and it doesn't surprise me that audiences are laughing inappropriately when it goes there.
Yeah, because I feel like they don't know. They're just going for the name. Oh, so-and-so from Roseanne was in this play. That's exactly it must have been good.
Right.
And I would say that probably a majority of the people in the audience never even read the original.
Doll's House.
You know, and I have issues with that, with them writing a sequel to Ibsen.
It's nuts.
I really have a lot of it bothers
I didn't know
me.
That's what it was. Like, I thought that was just like a name that had to do with some contemporary play.
Yeah.
Is she literally Nora?
Yes,
and he's
it's Torvald. And it...
Right.
They all, you know, it's Nora Torvald, the housekeeper, and their eldest daughter.
Okay.
And that's it.
They had a kid? Was there a baby in the first one?
In the original, she had...
In the first one.
In the original.
Like Jaws 3, Jaws 4. In the first one.
I think they had like 3 or 4 children. Because that's what was so heartbreaking about that play, is that she leaves. She does leave her husband and children. Okay. But I've often wondered if Nora even really did leave.
Okay, so let's just really quickly... Doll's House, if you've never read Doll's House, it takes like an hour to read. It's such a good play. And this woman, he always calls her, oh, my little squander bird, my little squirrel. You know, she lives for her husband and flits around and dances the tarantella for him.
Right.
And then all of a sudden at the end, it's this like feminist piece. She leaves and slams the door. And I'm told that it was called The Slam That Was Heard Around the World.
Yes.
Because it was so groundbreaking as far as feminism is concerned. It was 1901?
Yeah, to have...
Or so that it was written?
Yeah, to have a woman choose to leave her husband and children, small children.
Right.
It was unheard of.
As opposed to like what most of us do today is going to the refrigerator and
then eat.
Microwaving Elio's pizza.
You eat your soft tacos and devil dogs.
And just get into bed with him and hope he's facing the wall while he's asleep. So you can go on your phone and look at pornography. But that's not my life at all. Yeah.
But yeah.
So what is this Doll's House 2?
So basically she comes back. And she's like some sort of entrepreneur, and she's got money, and she's happy, and da-da-da-da-da. But they never really get into the nitty-gritty. Mm-hmm. And I feel like whenever they started to, it was just kind of like, you know, they just like kind of glided over it.
Yeah, I feel like every time I've seen New York theater in the last 20 years, with the exception of August Osage County, everything is beige.
Yeah.
It's a general mediocrity all the time.
With the exception of... there was a revival of Jitney, August Wilson.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. I didn't see it.
So good. It was one of the best. And that's because it's August Wilson. It's like, yeah, there are some funny moments, but for the most part, it's a heavy-duty, devastating play. And the performances were great.
Like the revival I saw, I don't know, 10 years ago, Joe Turner's Come and Gone. It was okay. It was fine. But it didn't, that's not like Fences. It's not like Fences or Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It's not as, it doesn't go there quite as much.
Yeah. I would say his other plays, like The Piano Lesson and all those. That was a great one, too.
But it's also like, I wonder why people go to theater now. Like, they say New Yorkers tend to stand up at the end of every performance as opposed to the Brits, who will stand up if they really feel it's merited. They say that New Yorkers do it, or theater goers in New York do it because they want the most for their money and want to feel that they were a part of something.
I didn't stand up for A Doll's House. In 1984, I didn't even stay to applaud.
Really?
Well, people are going to see 1984 because it's for the shock value.
Okay.
People are fainting and throwing up in the seats and da-da-da.
Oh, come on. Yeah. Really? And it's bullshit.
It's based on the novel. They made it into a play. And it's just like about a quarter of the way into it, I was like, oh, this was a mistake. What am I doing sitting here? This was really bad. And there was no intermission, so it was an hour and a half. And then there's a torture scene towards the end of the play. The guy that played the man who tortures him was actually quite good. But the actor who is playing Winston, he's getting tortured. They're cutting his fingers off, and he's bleeding, and his breathing never changed. They're asking him questions, and he's answering them just like I'm talking right now.
What does he look like?
His name is Tom Sturridge.
Okay. What does he look like physically?
He's a short, brown-haired white guy.
Yeah, that's exactly, that's what works.
Nothing memorable about him physically.
Non-memorable white men is what seems to work in New York theater constantly.
And Olivia Wilde is in it. She plays the love interest. And which I never bought. I never bought the love interest. And I didn't believe, I sat there watching this torture scene and people were like,
Right.
And I'm
like what sticks out in my head?
Right away, it was like, he's not feeling any pain. So this is all pretend.
What always works. Like when I saw the revival of Gemini at Second Stage, like the one of two plays where there were Italian Americans, it was that guy Thomas Stadowski, a white guy with brown hair and white skin. It's like, or Danny in the Deep Blue Sea. It was like a Jewish guy who looks like a white guy.
Yeah.
It makes me crazy. This is why I eat and why I want to have sex all the time with people that I don't know, even though I don't. Even though I don't ever have sex with anyone, period. So wait a minute. Now, Valerie has gorgeous ivory skin and blonde hair. She's gorgeous. But aren't you from like the hood? Aren't you from like the hood and shit?
Yes.
You from like the Fort Greene Project? No, where are you from?
I'm from Ridgewood.
Ridgewood, is that Queens or Brooklyn?
It's literally the border of Brooklyn and Queens. Did you
go to a school that started with PS?
Yes.
Like PS 601?
PS 68.
Why couldn't they come up with names like Maplewood?
No.
Greenfields.
Public School 68.
PS. It sounds so like cold. P.S. You don't have much of a future if you go to school here.
Exactly.
P.S. You might get shot during algebra.
Yeah. But growing up in New York, it was just everyone did that. It was like no big, like, oh my God, I have to put my child in a charter school or any of that. That stuff didn't exist. It was
now
just
it's like preschool. They have to seriously. It's like getting into a college.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So
wait a minute. You went to high school. Did you, in the late 80s or early 90s, did they have, because when I taught for Theater Development Fund for a little bit, they had the full-blown airport security. I had to take off my shoes, belt, put my bag. Did they have that back then?
Yeah, I remember.
Security walking into high school.
Yes.
An armed cop or a guard?
My school, because it was a large high school, I went to Franklin K. Lane in Brooklyn. And it doesn't even
who is that? Wait a minute. Who's Franklin?
I don't even know.
Right. Probably someone who freed the slaves in 1970.
But it is a massive school in the middle of cemeteries.
And those cemeteries you can see from the expressway or no?
In East New York, if you go through where Jamaica Avenue is.
Oh, God. But
it was the largest physically the largest high school in America.
It's gone now? Or
They
it's broken
split it
down?
up.
Yeah,
They
that's what
split it up.
did.
They didn't get rid of it. They split it up, but it was beautiful. It had like a huge football field, baseball field, tennis courts.
Oh, wow.
It had an indoor swimming pool.
So this wasn't... okay. So it wasn't horrific.
Well, you had horrific people going there, like of all shapes and sizes and backgrounds. There were a lot of what we called Guidos from like
Sure.
Ozone Park and
Guidos
Howard
are all
Beach.
dead. Where are all the Guidos that I went to school with?
They were
Z's and Miatas.
These Guidos were, and I shouldn't say that, it's so racist, but
You should say what? What, Guido?
Guidos, yeah.
No, that's okay. I'm
I know,
that,
you're
so
Italian.
we can say I can fuck. Wait a minute. Holy shit! This new fucking cologne, Eternity, the guy that did fucking Obsession, is amazing.
These guys would show up in their cars. They would drive to school, and they would have like their name like inscribed on the door, that like Anthony, Anthony on this side, and then his girlfriend's name would be inscribed on the passenger side. It would be like,
my God.
like Donna,
What do they do if they break up?
Exactly. Well, I guess he would just have it like redone, like
He'd cover with Teresa, whatever bitch he was
exactly.
banging next.
I have to find another Donna.
Oh my
But it was
God.
So I grew up with a lot of like.
But it was multicultural.
It was
like,
multicultural.
we had Italians and Jews where I grew up, and
I
maybe
had
some
everything.
Irish.
Yeah, we had some Jewish people. I had a lot of like Muslim friends too. It was just like everything.
Wow.
People who were Lebanese, people from Pakistan. And
Was
Iran.
it like in is it Mean Girls or was it like in Mean Girls where like the Asian girl sat at one table at lunch and theater fags
it
at
was
another
so
table?
weird. I was like
Goth.
Yeah, I was like a punk. I was just like not into.
Yeah, that's what it was like then. It was
I
that
didn't.
was like the punk back then was like The Cure, The Smiths,
Right.
B-52s. Like that's what it was then. Like I was kind of like that too.
Yeah, and I just kind of did my own thing, and
too,
like
yeah,
I had
I was
a
too.
few friends,
Right.
but I was just like, oh, I'm better than these people. And I remember my English teacher was just like, yeah, you don't need to be associating with these people. He was like,
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
He was just like, so I didn't, but I've always been that like I've always been like the one that be friends with the weirdos and the freaks.
Yeah.
Like I've never been like part of the cool clique.
Right.
And I still to this day I hate that when I
Right.
see it. And I feel like I see it more as an adult.
Do you see it at the Cellar with comedians?
Yeah, you definitely see it with
Yeah, I think so,
comedians,
too.
and
And comedians that I love
Oh, yeah.
are not necessarily in it sometimes. In the cool clique.
I see it, and then sometimes I see it with comedians I do love, and they're part of it, and I go, ooh,
Right.
like there's that part of me that just goes, oh my God, you're such a like in my head, I'm like, oh, you're such a conformist,
Right. Yeah,
like
Yeah.
like I like the people who don't conform. I like the non-conformists. Like I don't feel like you have to belong. Like I have pockets of friends from everywhere. I have some friends.
I do too.
That are in comedy, some that are in theater,
Right.
actors, and some that aren't. Some,
Yeah.
like childhood friends, and
That's funny. I do too.
I like having that. I think it's a lot more interesting.
I do too. What was I going to say about this with the comedy thing? What was I going to say about this with the Cellar and within? This I think what's the word spans over many businesses. When I'm at the Cellar with my friends, with like say Jessica, and I see people that are much younger than I am and much newer to comedy than I am, that may not be great on stage, but have that talent to kind of sit with the A-list and kind of immediately be a part of it. It always amazes me that it's like another kind of talent. It's a shame. Whether or not this group accepts them, there's a shamelessness that I kind of wish I had a little bit of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Or a lack of caring about what other people think, or at least being able to put that aside. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think that because it is, that is part of, there is a game to all of this.
Every business. Every
And
business. I wanted to say comedy, but I think every business.
But I think in every business,
right.
yeah, I totally agree. I think it's in every business. And it's just a matter of, a lot of times, especially in entertainment, it's being in the right place at the right time.
Right. So what do you mean? You mean that's part of what that is?
I think that's part of what it is. I don't necessarily think it's as calculated as you might think it is. And it's just like, well, I'm here and so-and-so's here. So, yeah.
I could never, like, when I've been at that table, and I've sat next to Chris Rock and Ray Romano and whatnot. Like, I remember, like, Ray Romano offering me a chicken wing was one of the most exciting things to ever happen to me. When Chris Rock was next to me, I stared hard down at the wood of the table like I was autistic.
Well, and that's
like, I could never sit next to Chris Rock and be like, oh my God, you're so, like, I've heard comics, like, literally sit next to him, like, ha ha ha. Like,
maybe,
laugh.
I mean, I guess
I wish I had that
look
gene.
at it differently, because I work with them.
Right.
So I have to interact with them. And so you can talk to them. The thing that I was talking with someone about this recently about, like, meeting, like, celebrities and famous people, that they're just regular people at the end of the day.
Ray Romano
really
was
is
totally normal. I talked about auditioning for the show and stuff with him, but like with Chris Rock, and it's not. Oh my God! Like, I'm a comic now. You know what I mean? I think if I were still just like an actor, like I was, if that were my life, it would be a different story. Because I always hated it when people treated celebrities differently. In part because I didn't have as much of a career as they did, so I always. Like, if I have to bartend and wait on them, forget about it. Like, I'll treat them like anybody else.
Yeah.
I can't kiss anybody's ass.
But I don't think they want that.
Of course
either.
not. But I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe some people are really good at ass kissing so that it doesn't look like ass kissing. Because I've seen, like, I can't say it on this program, but I've seen people get jobs through some of these celebrities who we made fun of for laughing that you could, like, hear, like, we would be like, so-and-so is laughing so hard at Chris Rock, you can hear them down the block. You can hear them on, like, 6th Avenue. And it's such, like, I've heard so many comics say how it just rings, it has such a falseness to it. So I think, I don't know, maybe some people buy it or like it.
I think some people do. And the thing is, a lot of the people at the Cellar, though, they're genuinely talented people.
I was just going to say.
They're all very talented people.
I was just going to say, a lot of them are actually talented.
So if you are Chris Rock,
right,
and you need someone to help you write because you're hosting the Oscars.
Well, that in particular, well, that's Michelle Wolf. Michelle Wolf is brilliant. It's really, like, it's crazy.
She's probably one of the hardest working comics.
Like, she's
always has new material.
She's not
all the time.
She's not what I mean. Michelle Wolf is like somebody who, like, I remember years ago I was about to go on stage at Stand Up New York, and Chris DiStefano and I used to always do this. It was like a habit. Oh my God, I'm going to bomb. And once I said that habitually, maybe 5 years ago, and Michelle Wolf said, "What? Why would you say that?" I'll never forget that. Like, she doesn't live in that. She just, like, with Twitter, she just, like, years ago before she hit, she would just, like, literally boom, 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 like, bang them out. And I'm like, how do you do that at work? And she's like, it's my job. If I don't want to, I do it because it's my job. Like, it's brilliant.
Yeah, she has a very, like, her work ethic
is insane. It's amazing. She's not that. She's not what I mean by that other thing at all.
No.
She is because she's the real deal.
But I feel like, like, I was just using that as an example that, like, if you're someone like, Chris Rock or Judd Apatow, and it's just like these are all very talented people. So I think it just lends itself to that you're just in the right place at the right time, and it does happen. If you are at the Cellar, there's a good chance you'll be on Crashing.
Right.
Everybody, has been on Crashing.
Right. That's
pretty much.
That's at the Cellar.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Right.
And it's just because if you're there, they want that atmosphere on the show. They want it to be as real as possible.
Right.
So,
shit, I got up to like the 5th episode. I have to watch more to see how he gets to the Cellar.
I don't think he has gotten to
the
Cellar.
So he's not performing.
I mean,
there yet?
Honestly, I hate to admit this. I only watched the one episode.
The first episode. I didn't. The first time I did a Law and Order, the Criminal Intent, I couldn't get through my own episode. Like, there was like a coffee factory, a dog had coffee dust on it, a woman murdered with a Walkman, the mafia thing, of course, that was my storyline. Right. I didn't know what the fuck, and then D'Onofrio, sort of like, as if he were doing like a play, like a Brecht play. He wasn't even in the same episode as everybody else. I didn't know what the fuck was going on until like one New Year's Eve, it was on at like 11 o'clock. Like, imagine watching, like, the 11th or 11:30, maybe.
You were watching a marathon.
I watched my Law and Order instead of watching the ball drop. That's how depressed I was. It's sort of like 11:30, I was waiting for my scene. I didn't even care that it was 2006. And I tried to sit through the whole thing. It's called But Not Forgotten. It's like season 3. I didn't know what the fuck was going. If anybody wants to see what I looked like before tragedy struck my family, watch that episode.
Really?
Yes.
What was so different about you?
Oh my God. I was 160 pounds. I was clean shaven. I looked like a different person. I was like kind of all up in my face. I wasn't like grounded yet. And then 2009, after my parents died, I was on SVU. That's when I think I looked my best. I was maybe 185. I had a beard. My hair is curlier. And then everything started to fall apart after my best friend's suicide.
Yeah.
That's when I started to and my sister's death. That's when I started to really eat. And give up a lot of just give up. I was paralyzed, but I was doing stand up. That's when I started stand up after all that death.
Wow.
That's when I started doing stand up. I couldn't wait around for like 2 auditions a year with my representation. I couldn't do it.
Have you ever written anything?
Yes. I wrote one thing that I thought was so brilliant not too long ago, within the last year after the election. And it was so hard to pitch without management to do it that it was like we just put it on the shelf about gay conversion therapy. We just kind of like put it aside. It was so stupid and so funny.
Wow.
And we just put it because it's really the gatekeepers in this business are really like you have to get such a lucky break to people like do a 1-person show. I'm like try doing 20. Try doing 20 of those little theater pieces and being on the cover of the Times and still not getting people to be able to show up. That's why when I see La La Land, I want to find Emma Stone and set her on fire. And then I want to like take that Oscar and shove it up her ass. She's like, I've been doing this for 6 years. She has more auditions in that fucking movie than I've had in my lifetime for like film and TV.
Yeah.
Like it's so not what it's like. I'm so glad that movie lost the Oscar.
Yeah.
And they thought they won because it's granted, it's a musical in primary colors, sort of. But when it comes to it's so LA, it's La La Land.
Yeah.
But when it comes to something a business that is so makes people so desperate, people want it so badly to actually act like it's that easy for absolutely anyone. It's like that. It's that easy maybe for 1 in a million, literally.
Yeah, there are some people that it is that easy.
That easy. But it's really, when you say some people, like a few is the number 3, a couple is 2, a few is the number 3. Some people is literally like a sprinkle. It's really rare.
I think for straight actors, it's extremely rare. I feel like it's more common with comics.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know anybody from Yale that was with ICM or CAA. And like comedians that like my closest friends are with Gersh, CAA, and ICM.
But it
William
happens.
Morris Endeavor.
Like there are a lot of comics who haven't been doing it very long that have a lot of success. Huge success. Huge.
Michael Che was within a year or 2, year and a half.
Yeah.
Right? It was quick.
But he has a really like weird, like that's been his whole life.
Yeah, I know.
He's
right. Didn't he like sketch on the street and Ralph Lauren saw him?
He used to. He was an artist and he was making these T-shirts, and he would just sell them on like down in Soho, and I think Ralph Lauren's son or something. Mm-hmm. No, it's Tommy Hilfiger.
Okay.
Tommy Hilfiger's son like bought one, and Tommy Hilfiger liked it, came down and offered him a job.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
Like that never happens.
And you'll like have a seamstress in a costume shop in Appalachia,
literally,
who went to Yale for costuming, and literally who's making $200 a week and lives in a trailer eating cheese that's wrapped in plastic.
Right.
And this kid is 19 on the street. This is why there's no such thing, I want our listeners to know, as God. God does not exist. If you believe in God and pray all the time, you will get the opposite of what you pray for. Okay, so Michael Che is not the norm. Like somebody that hits in a year, sells T-shirts, gets seen by Tommy Hilfiger.
To me, he's a very special individual and
because he gets lucky all the time. But here's the thing: a lot of people deserve it. Like Jessica deserves it. I deserve it. You deserve it. A lot of people deserve it.
I don't think it's luck. I just there's just something about him, and I feel like there's certain people. like, I don't know what that is, but certain people have it. And he has that.
What do you mean, like a star quality?
There's just something inherent about him. He's very nice. He's very approachable, very easy to get along with and work with.
Right.
And so I think, you know, and I've never seen his artwork, but I would imagine it's probably interesting and really good.
See, but I'm surprised to hear you say that. I sound like such a pessimist, but some of the people I went to school with, I don't even want to say at Yale, I mean at SUNY Purchase, let alone some of the faculty, they were just like, you couldn't take your eyes off of them. They were one woman at Yale and so many of my classmates at Purchase, God knows, two of the faculty women that were just like, there was an actress at Yale that I knew from Long Island. No, at Purchase, Nancy Harkins, that I knew from Long Island. At Purchase, when she was on stage, like, I still remember the details to this day of some of her stuff on stage.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of people, I think, that everybody loves and wants to work with that have this thing that nobody ever sees.
Well, my friend Travis, I mentioned before, his name really is Travis Shakespeare. It's his birth name. It really is.
His name is Shakespeare?
Yeah, his name is Shakespeare.
Wow.
And I just remember when I first met him in acting class, I was like, Shakespeare? And I thought he like did that on purpose. And he was like, no, it's his name. And we became like best friends. Like we're still to this day, like he's one of my best friends. And he was just like, on top of it, like, and he's an amazing actor.
Right.
And now he's producing reality TV shows.
All right.
You know, making money and doing
he's
it.
in the world of it, though.
But I just remember, like, he and I used to always work together on everything.
Right.
Like, he was just that one person I always wanted to work on a scene with. And, like, the two of us, like, people in class would always like, you two always work together. And we were just,
you had good chemistry and you're probably both brilliant. Right.
And, you know, we did, what does that play? Washington Square.
I don't know it.
You know.
Oh, it takes place in Washington Square?
You know about the daughter whose father
has sex with her or something.
No.
All those plays, like it comes out at the end that the daughter's molested.
No, it was a famous, The Heiress. That's it. The Heiress.
I saw that with Cherry Jones. Wait, when I saw The Heiress with Cherry Jones, I remember there was this 13-year-old girl waiting for an autograph. And Frances Sternhagen, she was like, Miss Sternhagen, may I have your autograph? And Frances Sternhagen stuck her head out, pretended to look for like a limousine, and then ran back in and completely ignored her. Do any of you that are listening know who Frances Sternhagen is? No. Okay, she was like Kyle MacLachlan's mom on Sex and the City. She acted like she was Madonna, and there was this 13-year-old girl. Who the fuck do these people think they are?
I saw her in an off-Broadway production of Driving Miss Daisy. So, yes, I do know who she is.
I mean, of course you know who she is. Yeah. But, like, they don't know who Geraldine Page is, people that are listening. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine how anyone can't know.
Because it's like, oh, God, just sign the 13-year-old's fucking notebook. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus Christ. My point is these people are so delusional. You have what most people want. It's just like, that's part of the job. That's how I feel. That really is how I feel. That's part of the job. When I hear them complain about what they complain about, it could be so much worse.
But you know what? It's a different world now, too. Like,
now it's a different world. That was also 15 years ago that I saw The Heiress with her.
Now people, you know, will take their cell phone out and, like, sneakily, like, take a picture or a video. And
I do that to people at the mall all the time, but not famous people.
But famous people. And, I always, like, at the cellar, we shut that down, like, immediately. And I just feel like you're right. It's an invasion of privacy.
Right. It's a different world now. You're right. That was 15 years ago.
You know, now everybody has a phone with a camera. Now everyone has a camera. You realistically can't take a picture with everybody.
Like I saw Bill Maher saying last night on CNN. Who was he being interviewed by? Bill Maher was on Fareed's on CNN on the fake news network.
Frederica, whatever.
No, Fareed. I predict that first of all, he's going to lose the election. That he's the one who said President Trump is going to lose the election. They keep showing that clip of him saying that. President Trump is going to lose the election. And Bill Maher said, like when he said, I don't take pictures. He said, how about a handshake? How about a hug? I don't take pictures. I'm so glad that I met Joan Jett before the iPhone was invented because there's a picture of her on my Facebook with me. Aww. It looks like I have a glass eye, though. My mother said, I didn't know that Joan Jett that you love was Chinese. I'm like, she's not, Ma. She just had a lot of work done. Because the picture was on the refrigerator back when we still had pictures and stuff.
Yeah. That's hysterical.
Isn't that insane? Yeah, but I get that. I love how they shut that down at the Cellar. It's a different world. But Frances Sternhagen should have signed the girl's fucking spiral
especially a
Playboy
little
notebook or
kid.
whatever
Yeah,
it
I think
was.
it's rude.
Sure, she's friends. How many people ask Frances Sternhagen
How many
for an autograph?
13-year-olds too?
No, that's a kid who is like all about Eve without the evil part. That's a kid who loved theater and called her Miss Sternhagen. You know what I mean? It's not like it was, the Real Housewife is in Cinderella. It's not like that.
Well, some of these, like all those people, it's maybe she was living her moments of being a star.
That's true.
She's like, I'm 80 years old and I finally made it.
I just called her a cunt under your sentence. Wait a minute. What was I going to say? Do you have any, like, are you a food person? Are you a food addictive person? Like this is Fat Pig.
Yeah. I go through phases where I can be like a glutton and I just don't give a shit.
Right.
And I'll just like eat crappy food.
Yeah, me
and then,
too. I go through phases where I don't.
Well, especially,
most of the time
the Cellar, like my friend, Linda, who works at the Cellar, right? She and I are
a sweetheart.
She's so sweet.
Yeah.
She and I are always talking about diets and like, we're going to do this. Or I think it was the beginning of this year, we were juicing. Like I was doing a juice fast,
God. I remember that.
And I was doing it like, this is great.
I remember that. I remember when you were juicing.
And I did it for like 2 weeks, and then I was like, I can't do this
2 weeks?
Yes. And I was like, I can't do it.
I remember when you were doing it, but I didn't know it was that with no solid food.
Yeah. And then I was actually pretty good about it. I went down to doing it like once a month for 3 days.
Like you're the person who shared chicken wings with me.
Yeah.
Juicing for 2 weeks.
Yeah. It was hard.
I don't even chew the bones with chicken wings anymore. I just eat them.
Yeah.
like seriously, just swallow them.
And then I would just, we always do like these weird things. Oh, we're going to do this diet and that. Like we're constantly talking about dieting. Like doing
right.
like have everyone like, then there was a period where we had like that diet where we had a cheat day.
Yeah, I do that. But the problem is, like Jessica and I have talked about this, like my cheat day, it was 4th of July, and I was like, I can have a cheat day. It's 4th of July, and we're in Maine.
Right.
It was like a vacation, and that was the last time I was good on my good eating. It was a relapse.
Yeah.
It was a total relapse.
Well, and everything I've read about, like there are some people that say it shouldn't be a cheat day, it should be a cheat meal.
It should be a cheat meal.
But there's one...
I can't anymore.
The guy who wrote the book about the 4-hour diet.
Who's that?
I don't know his name. But it's...
Idiot McShut-Up.
Yeah.
Idiot McJerk.
And it's, basically it's like you eat every 4 hours so that you're...
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what he means by the...
Like 4-hour
that is
diet.
true.
Right.
Okay,
so that you don't go into like starvation mode and then just like and shove food.
It keeps the metabolism wheel turning.
It keeps it at a level. It's not. There's nothing spiking.
When I was being good, I didn't even miss garbage food a month ago. I didn't miss it at all. Now I'm like jonesing for it. And when I say being good, I was eating like I was eating whenever I wanted to, but I was eating turkey chili, celery with hummus,
right?
Whatever, like that. Seriously, or organic roasted tomato basil soup that I made at home.
Yeah. With
homemade chicken stock. And I lost 40 pounds. I'm holding on to that seriously like I won a Tony Award. I lost 40. I probably gained back 37. And I lost 40 pounds. Now it's down to like 3. I lost 3.
But, so whenever I would do that diet in particular, like that cheat days would just like, it was like an excuse like for us to like I would ask Linda, like, oh, what did you eat on your cheat day? And she's like, well, I had a pizza. I ordered a pizza. Mm-hmm. and then we'd have like donuts and like, like I would eat at home and then come in and then it was just like eat.
I remember my cheat day when I was a workout fiend, like my Sunday cheat day. I remember one of them in particular going to IHOP, Taco Bell, and then later that night, White Castle. Cheat day. I had more calories in that day than I had in 2009.
Oh my God.
In that one Sunday. It's out of control.
And there are some people that there's this one guy who, I don't know if he still believes in this, but there's this guy who wrote this book called No Sugar, No Grains. And he has.
I hate these people.
Vinny Tortorich or something is his name.
Wait a minute. Okay, finish the thought. Right. I'm sorry.
And the whole thing is that, like, you know, like he would like push you, like, how on your cheat day, eat the crappy foods and blah 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 blah. But now I think he's eased up on that. I was just like, oh, just have a cheat meal.
Now that he's 411 pounds, hooked up to a catheter and a feeding tube.
See, I can't do the cheat days because then it's just like if I'm not consistent with the cheat day.
I can't do the cheat day. It's like doing coke if you're an addict.
It is.
For me,
and it's very easy for me to make an excuse. Then I'll just be like, all right, so I only have the carbs in the day, and I'll, you know, like in late night I won't have carbs.
Yeah, it's like she says, I'm absolutely fabulous with a chocolate croissant. She's like, it's only the chocolate I have to avoid when she's eating around. Yeah. Who are the people that write these goddamn I could wallpaper.
Yeah.
Not only my own unit, but the 20 apartments in my building. I could wallpaper.
Yeah.
And still have 40 books left over with the self-help books I own and haven't read. Yeah. Like, they're clean and crisp enough, the pages, because I haven't read them. These books are all written by people, I feel like they're all white people who have, like, a house on a lake in, like, the Adirondacks. Like, they have those homes that are gorgeous. They're, like, white people that are white-collar and come from money. I'm going to write a book about what it feels like to look at my watch all the time. Like, they rate, it's such crap. It's like these...
And then they all do it under the guise of, like, I'm just doing this to help people.
Oh, it's such bullshit. A lot of Jewish women do that. The Italian women just stay at home and, like, feed the men.
I feel like it's across the board. I think, like, I feel like there are more men doing it.
Really?
I think. I don't know. I tend to read self-help books from men.
Linda Schwartzman. Ian Van Zandt, I used to read. Italian women just kind of stay at home and hope that they get a new car that has T-tops.
Yeah, I've read a couple of Ian Van Zandt.
Oh, my God, so did I. In the meantime.
Yeah.
But then she got divorced. But the thing, would you ever watch her show, Iyanla Saved My Life?
I've only watched a couple. I remember watching her when she used to be on Oprah.
Yeah,
and
me
I used
too.
To love when
Loved
she was
her. That's when I got into her books. But now, when that's
when she used to do the whole thing. Save yourself.
I still do love her. Come here, sister. Come here. Come here, sister. Come here. If I were the woman, she literally gets within a centimeter of the other person's face.
Yeah.
I'd be like, in my head, I'd be like, I can't hear anything this woman is saying because I smell her breath. She's within an inch of my personal space, and I feel like I'm about to make out with her.
Right.
I'd be so uncomfortable, the words would just all turn to cartoon X's. Like, I wouldn't hear her. She has no concept of personal. Come here, come here. What's it like when you open that fist and see that child's face? It's like so ridiculous. What's it like? Who hurt you? Like, it's so out of control.
Yeah,
but I love her though. I do.
Know. Yeah, I've stopped reading a lot of those books, and so now I just try to now I always discuss dieting with like one of my good friends, Tony. That he's my neighbor, and we go to the gym all the time.
Really?
Together.
Is he gay?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And so we just talk about like giving up sugar and like he gave up drinking.
What kind of shape is he in?
He's actually getting in better shape.
Oh, he's not in like perfect gay shape.
No, he's not in perfect gay shape. He stopped drinking, so he lost a lot of weight from that. And
I don't really drink. I have no excuse other than like, Twinkies. I don't drink. If I drank, it would be saw out of a room fat, like when they saw them out of a room on 600 Pound Life. If I drank, they would have to widen the doorway. Like if that were on top of it.
Really?
Elizabeth Taylor used to drink Jack Daniels with fried chicken. I read. She didn't want to share fried chicken was her favorite thing.
Really?
Like when she would have a cheat day, it would be like a bucket of fried chicken. She loved Jack Daniels fried chicken. She was like, you ever see Easy Rider magazine? She was like that. She was like a centerfold in Easy Rider without the tattoos on her boobs.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? Yeah, she didn't like to share fried chicken and she didn't like to share dessert. I love that.
Yeah, I don't mind sharing food. I
get nervous. Because I feel like whenever somebody wants to share dessert, it's gone. Like they're like, oh, I just want a little. They're foolish. They eat the plate. They're the ones licking the plate.
See, I want that. I want people to eat the dessert because then I don't eat it all.
I have anxiety. Like with Jessica, when we share food, I have to be very careful because I'll eat the whole thing. She's really good at it, at not. I have to make sure that I almost make the hummus like a half line down the middle of it in my head. so that I know, because I'll eat the whole thing within seconds, and she'll like nibble at it. It's weird. I don't know if she realizes that she's gotten so good. Like
Wow.
It's annoying.
Yeah, no, I like the idea of ordering a dessert and having someone else eat it. And then
then you don't get it.
Right, that's the whole point.
Yeah, see, I don't think like that.
Then
I get upset.
Then it works.
I'm like, you sure you don't want to get two?
No. Because then I would eat the other one, and then you would eat
I feel like we didn't talk about enough, and we have to end.
Oh, God.
Valerie, we have to have you on again. You have to come back again to the Fat Pig. Because I know that you get it. It's really... You can write to us at heyfatpig@gmail.com. What is it? HeyFatPig at Instagrams and HeyFatPig at Twitter. We never even look at. We have to fix. I'm going to post pictures of my countertop of the Instagram thing, so people have something to look at. It has those mini cereal boxes. I really, like the little Fruit Loops, Corn Puffs, Cocoa Pebbles, where you can choose.
Yeah, you buy
Apple
those.
Jacks. It's on the countertop right now. I'm not going to say who bought them. If it was me or if it was a visitor. I'm not going to say who bought it.
Okay.
But there's Tostitos, there's salsa, there's those little cereal boxes, and there's a jar of Jif. Like, I really fell off the wagon. I have to fix this.
The Jif has a lot of sugar, right?
Well, I mean, the thing is, if you eat the whole jar like it's tomato soup in one sitting...
And if you just make that, it
feels like it's seriously...
Well, you know what you have to do? You just have to stop buying things. Buying bread. I bought... I'll sometimes buy like ham or cheese or whatever, and then I'll just like roll it up and then eat it without the bread.
I do that.
Yeah,
but that's okay. I do that.
Yeah.
But then I stopped when I was being good, I stopped even eating cold cuts because they have sugar in them.
Yeah.
Oh God, I lost so much weight, and now I see we just took a picture with another guest and I know that my face is going to look like a medicine ball. I'm going to look so swollen again. Oh, it's so depressing. I just want to be dead.
No, you don't.
I don't. When I get signed to an agent, that's good. I won't want to be dead anymore. But today I want to be dead. Thanks for listening, guys. Valerie, thank you so much for co-hosting Fat Pig.
Thank you.
Guys, we love you. Jessica loves you. She was supposed to send me an email, and we both forgot today because we were talking about going to the diner when we drive to Maryland or wherever the fuck we're going next. And we have some good stuff coming. The Fat Pig has some good stuff coming up that we'll talk about real soon, where you're going to be able to see us live. Thank you for listening. We love you. Take it easy.